Yes, here it is. The daddy, the slim daddy, the one we've been waiting for. Woo! Righto, tally ho there champs. Now let's get into it. The Alienware M15, Alienware's slim daddy. Alright champs, let's get rid of Windows Home and let's get some Windows Pro. Copy and paste my code from the description. New codes, new discount. You can get Windows Professional, Office. Paste my code. Boom. It's Windows Pro time. Yes, this is Alienware's entry into the slim 15-inch premium laptops. Start here in Australia at about $2,799, $1,379 US, and about $1,599 quid. Now my model here is actually on sale at Dell.com US, $2,249, about 3K here, or just a bit over 3K in Australia. Now when it comes to build quality and looks, well, you either like it or you won't, but I actually really like it. I've said it before, but when I'm out and about and I'm using these laptops, the one I always get asked about is the Alienware. Now this one doesn't have the zone lighting and the light up trackpad, but still it does have that unique Alienware look. I like the silver. You can get a red one if you're lucky enough to be in the US or China. Come on, bring it to the rest of us. But as you'd expect from an Alienware, built like a friggin' tank, like really is. It's nice and slim now. Got smaller bezels on the side. It still does have a bit of a forehead and a chin, but that's more to do with the footprint and the sort of design of the laptop. But it is top drawer build quality. You can compare this now to the Razer Blade and the Aero 15X, which I will do in a future video, and I'll tell you which one I think is the best. Also, I have a gaming video on this laptop, and I also have a content creation and performance video. So check out those two videos. If this is the long version of the review, you'll see it at the end of this. Now, it is Alienware's slimmest laptop, 18mm to 21mm, 2.16 kilos, 4.78 pounds. So it's really not that much heavier than, the Razer Blade or the Aero, but it definitely seems like it's tougher. You get all the ports you need. You get a killer Ethernet port, 2 USB 3.1 Type A's, 1 USB 3.1 Type A with PowerShare, a Thunderbolt 3, and the Alienware graphics amplifier port, which I will be making a video comparing an eGPU to the Alienware graphics amp. So make sure you subscribe for that. It's like really cheap. It's like $200 to get that. So you're like future-proof built in there, HDMI 2.0, mini display port 1.3, and you have an audio combination jack there. I would prefer if it had an audio in and audio out, but that's what it is. Killer wireless and Bluetooth 5. The sound is good. It actually did give me a sense of surround sound. So I have to say I am liking the sound on this, and it's pretty loud too, so that's good. You have an RGB keyboard here. You can use Alienware FX, the software, to control the zone lighting on it. Nice feel on it. I was worried when they went this thin, the keyboard would get worse. It's not as good as the big Alienwares, but it's still a good keyboard. And the trackpad, that's a trackpad of an XPS 13 or 15, isn't it? It's really good. It's actually for a gaming laptop, it's a good trackpad. Now when it comes to displays, you have 3 displays. I have the full HD 60Hz monitor, that's 100% sRGB. You have a full HD 144Hz display, that's 100% sRGB. And then you have the 4K 60Hz model, which is the one with the wide color gamut. So if you're a content creator, you probably get that one. If you're a gamer, you'll get the 144Hz. But even this entry level 60Hz display is really good. It'll all depend on your needs, but you're going to get a cracking display whichever one you get. Now the battery life is actually pretty good. I've done some battery runs like over 6 hours. That was just video playback. You're going to get around 5.5 hours with this 60 watt hour battery. If you have the 90 watt hour battery, you can expect 7-8 hours. It's pretty much on par with the Razer and the Aero. Now this was with the 60Hz display, 144Hz and 4K. Expect, less battery life, but for a gaming laptop, it's very good, and it makes it very usable as a daily laptop. You can use this as your daily driver because you have hours of battery life, at least 5 hours on the small battery. So I personally would get the one with the big battery, but then you have to take out the 2.5-inch drive, which for me is fine because it has 2 M.2 slots, and I'll just rather use those than a 2.5-inch drive. Now when it comes to performance, check out my game review and my performance review. I also strongly suggest you check out Steve from Own and Disown. If you watch his videos and my videos, you're going to get everything you need to know about this Alienware. And one of the stats he had, and I won't say them all, go check out his channel. He has more data than this, but when he was playing in balance mode, had an average of 82 degrees, that's on the CPU, average frequency of 3.365 megahertz, average wattage of 40 watts, and this actually comes with a 180 watt power supply. He did note when he put a bigger power supply on, like a 230 watt or something it was, he got rid of any power limit throttling. So when it comes to heat and noise, the CPU, depending on what mode you play, the CPU can go up to the hundreds and throttle down. If you play in balance mode, temperatures won't get so high. I could get 130 millivolt undervolt and I could really bring those temperatures down. External heat around the keyboard is around 46 degrees. Underneath it did get a bit warm, like 50 degrees, so you're not going to be putting this on your lap, and anyway you'll block the vents if you do, so don't do that. Put it on a table and don't put it on a mouse mat. But with all these thin and light laptops, they get hot, but this one gets maximum performance out of it, so that's what you want. As I said before, it has two M.2 drives. You can upgrade the RAM. It says up to 32 gigs RAM. I'm pretty sure the chipset and the CPU does support 64 gigs, so I'm pretty sure you could put 64 gigs in here. It might take a BIOS update in the future. It's hard to get 32 gig DIMMs anyway, but I think it could support that. So overall, we've been waiting a long time for Alienware to make a thin and light laptop. They have delivered. I don't know what Alienware's mission statement is, but it's something along the lines of go hard, go home. They tune this for maximum performance. And as I said, they let the horses run free. You can tune it down if you want. That's up to you. It's great as a daily laptop because the trackpad's good, the battery life's good, and it's thin and light for a full-on like 15-inch gaming laptop. So there's not much not to like here. When it comes to cons, I have to get back to you on that. I'm looking for one. So anyway, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Make sure you check Steve, Own It Disown. And I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Until next time, guys, tally ho. Righto, tally ho there, champs. Now let's have a look at this Alienware M15 and see how the beast games. Alright champs, let's get rid of Windows Home and let's get some Windows Pro. Copy and paste my code from the description. New codes, new discount. You can get Windows Professional, Office. Paste my code. Boom. It's Windows Pro time. So if you are new around here, come on, join the Woo Train, sub up. And if you like these videos, you know what to do. I may have a big giveaway coming. The I's are not dotted and the T's are not crossed at the moment, but it may be like a big giveaway. So anyway, let's get into this. This Alienware here comes with a GTX 1070 Max-Q and the 6-core 8th generation i7-8750H processor, which has a base of 2.2 GHz, which you need to know to see if it throttles below that, and it can boost up to 3.9, and that's its maximum. This one also has 16 gigabytes in dual channel. So yes, this is an Alienware, so you can get in there, you can upgrade the RAM, you can upgrade the M.2 SSD, you can add another M.2 SSD, and you can change the 2.5-inch hard drive if your model has this. This has the 60 watt hour battery. If you have the 90 watt hour battery, you do not get the 2.5-inch drive. So that's some serious power. Now this is a 4.7 pound thin and light package, so it definitely can be compared to the Razer Blades and Aero 15s and so on. Now usually when you get thin and light laptops, you compromise battery life, heat, noise, performance. Of course, the big laptops have the better performance, but with this one here, spoiler alert, there is not really much of a compromise. This also has a cracking display. Now there are 3 display models, a 60Hz Full HD, a 144Hz Full HD, and a 4K wide color gamut display. Now, if you're a content creator, I recommend the 4K. If you're a gamer, get with the 144Hz. But I can tell you now, even though this has the 60Hz monitor, this one that I'm using, this is seriously a good monitor. One of the best Full HD monitors I've used, and it is matte. But whatever matte coating they're using, it's really good because the clarity is really good and it really has a lot of punch and pop. It's better than some glossy screens. So that's an achievement in itself. So if you're not a competitive gamer, you could probably go with the 60Hz, or a content creator just wants longer battery life. So before we dive into the benchmarks, I'm just going to talk a little bit about thermals. Basically, you get the full beans out of this laptop. Most of the games, the CPU was at 3.9 GHz. The temperatures would get up into the 90s and sometimes even 100. But that 3.9 was pretty much maintained. It would dip down every now and then, depending on the game and the CPU usage at the time. But comparing this to, say, the Razer and the Aero 15, this one goes harder for longer. In fact, I remember on the Razer, I was playing PUBG on the same settings I was playing it on this laptop, and the frequency would actually go under 3 GHz. This one, it's pretty much 3.9 playing PUBG all the time, Occasionally it might dip, a little bit of power limit throttling, or it might reach into the high 90s, but it goes back up again to 3.9 pretty soon after that, and it really only dips down to around the mid 3s. So 3.5 gigahertz. And that's typical with all the games bar one. Can someone actually tell me why Battlefield 5 uses 100% of the CPU? Is this a bug, a reporting bug, or is it just really using 100% of the CPU? This is friggin' crazy. But nevertheless, this Alienware M15 did not buckle under that pressure. It never went below 3 gigahertz. The temperatures got up. They did. They got up into the 90s. Sometimes they hit 100, but it never went below 3 gigahertz. And considering the Razer Blade actually went under 3 gigahertz with PUBG using 30% of the CPU, you get my point. The performance is really good on this. I mean, Alienware, they could have tuned it and reduced the thermals if they wanted to, and reduced the clocks and just controlled it, and so it wasn't so hot. But if you want maximum performance, the only one that can really hold a candle to this out of the ones I've tested was the Zephyrus. And that's not a great daily usable laptop. Like, you know, the battery life isn't that good. Some people don't like the thicker bezels. It's not a very usable laptop for daily use like this. Now, I want to be clear here. All those laptops are great laptops. Honestly, whichever way you went, you got a good laptop. But if I was to say this one goes harder for longer, so I'm very impressed with the performance of this, and I'm glad that Dell, they let it go. They let the horses run free. They give you performance instead of being conservative and, you know, backing those clocks off, which all these 15-inch laptops do. They all have thermal management. They all have power limit managing. But I would say this Alienware is the most aggressive in terms of performance. And comparing my notes with, say, the Razer Blade, this was actually fastest. That is what it is. Now, all these benchmarks were done in performance mode, and they're all at 1080p max settings. So ultra, epic, whatever the max is. I went to the max preset, boom, 1080p, and these are the benchmarks. And in the brackets, you will see the undervolted benchmarks. And I've done that because this is a 60 Hz display. Now, if it wasn't a 60 Hz display, if it was 144 Hz, I would have lowered those settings down so I could get even more frames. But it makes sense, right? 60 Hz display, max out those settings. And also, when I done all this testing, it was quite warm. It was like around 26 degrees inside. So DSX Mankind Divided, which is a system crusher, 59 frames per second. PUBG, 82 frames per second. Witcher 3, which is another system crusher, 60 frames per second. Battlefield 5, which now is the ultimate system torture test with 100% CPU usage. Crazy, just crazy. 78 frames per second. Fortnite, 117 frames per second. And Black Ops Blackout, 104 frames per second. Man, I tested a lot of games on this. And GTA 5, 101 frames per second. And Overwatch, finally, epic settings, 69 frames per second. So there you go. You're easily getting your max setting 60 frames per second on every game. A lot of games are over 100 frames per second. So if you get the high refresh rate monitor, drop it down to high. You'll be getting those high frame rates. And at worst, you'll have to put it to medium, which looks pretty good on a 15-inch monitor. So now you'll just have some live gameplay. I'll put some music to it. You can watch the thermals and see that I'm not joking. This thing is epic and a performance powerhouse. And I've also like to mention you've got all the macros for the keys and the RGB and all the good stuff when it comes to a gaming keyboard. So let me know what you guys think. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and until next time, tally ho. Yeah.
His ass out of the building.
Why'd you do that? Filthy! Filthy just better to me, man. Champs. Now this is your ultimate performance test of this Alienware M15 GTX 1070 Max-Q, 16 gigabytes of dual channel RAM and a 6-core i7 8750H. Alright champs, let's get rid of Windows Home and let's get some Windows Pro. Copy and paste my code from the description. New codes, new discount. You can get Windows Professional, Office. Paste my code. Boom, it's Windows Pro time. So in this video, we're also going to be looking how it performs in the timeline with Premiere Pro and how it performs in the develop module in Lightroom. So stay tuned for that. So let's get straight into it. Now I've done all these tests actually in performance mode. So if we go back here, this is really cool. You can change all the modes here, performance. I'm actually using the quiet mode, very quiet actually. The fan, you could barely hear it, and actually you could record audio. It's good enough to record audio. You can still hear the fan, but it's pretty good. You have power modes here, and this was all done in performance mode. Now I think the best, if you want to do the best mode, balance mode is the best. So I think quiet mode's very good if you want to record audio, and balance mode is not going to let the CPU just go crazy and just, pump out some serious watts and then throttle down a little. Whereas when you use performance mode, it really does let the horses run free and just do whatever they want, and then it will control the thermals later. And look how cool this software is, right? It's cool software. Like some of these gaming software looks so rubbish, and this is clean, modern, very easy to use. I really do like this software. Now I have some cool news. I'm actually getting in the Alienware graphics amp. My man Varsha, hopefully he's going to send that out. And I do have an external GPU now, so an eGPU. I'm going to be comparing the Alienware graphics amp with this laptop compared to an external GPU. Which one's faster? Let me know down there in the comments which one you reckon will be faster, using the Thunderbolt 3 or using the Alienware graphics amp port. Which one you reckon will be faster? They're both 4 lanes. So anyway, let's get into these scores. Okay, here we have it stock 5-strike score, and it has a GTX 1070 Max-Q. I think I mentioned that already, but anyway, that's stock, that's undervolted, a little bit of an increase there. You can compare that. Geekbench, yeah, whatever. That's normal for an 8750H. So nothing to see there. Now this is Lightroom RAW to JPEG export. Now the thing about this is basically a CPU test. So obviously the i9s are on the top because it doesn't really use the graphics at all. It's just basically using the CPU. And as you can see there, the Alienware is 2 minutes and 8 seconds, and the MacBook Pro 15 with the same processor and the Razer Blade, within couple of seconds. I mean, that could have been me not stopping the watch quick enough, but it is the fastest one here. I've done like 3 tests anyway, and obviously the i9s from the MacBook Pro and the XPS 15 are the fastest, so that is what it is. It's basically a CPU test. Now this is previews, which is basically a CPU test as well, and interestingly, I don't know why the Mac is so fast at doing this, because this is a CPU test as well. It's not using graphics or Vega, or I thought it was, but no, it's not. But this trend continues. The i9s are the fastest. The MacBook Pro, I don't know if just Lightroom is more optimized for Macs. I'm not sure. But the i9 of the XPS 15, is the second fastest. And the MacBook Pro is a bit faster than the Alienware using the same processor. But interestingly, the Alienware is faster than Razer Blade, which uses the same processor as well. So I guess it comes down to how hard and long you can boost for. This test isn't really that long enough to make things throttle that much, but anyway. So this is the Puget System Photoshop benchmark. Now, as you can see here, it gets 853. So for some reason, it is a lot faster than the Razer Blade Pro, which uses the same processor and the same GPU. Like, it's a lot faster. So 853 versus 788. And here again, the Macs are faster, right? Is this Adobe more optimized for Macs? We've always been told Adobe isn't optimized for Macs, but obviously there's likes Macs for some reason. But anyway, it did blow away here, the Razer Blade in this case. Now this is another interesting one. Same CPU, same GPU, but different scores. This is the same benchmark. What can I tell you? 3D Studio Max, which is the first one, the Alienware's faster. And another one, Maya, which is Arabic for water, is actually faster on the Razer. I don't know why. Same CPU, same GPU. Have no idea. And Medical 2, which is English for medical, that's 44 versus 34 on the Razer. So I can't explain the differences in the scores, considering they have the same GPU, except that maybe the Alienware, they tune it a bit faster, but there are some tests where the Razer's a bit faster. So I can't explain that. That is what it is. All right, now let's have a look where basically the Alienware cleaned house here. Cleaned house. It is now the fastest renderer out of all the laptops I've tested. As you can see, 8 minutes and 16 seconds. And I thought nothing was actually going to catch this Aorus X7, which has a GTX 1080 by the way. And this thing's actually faster. The Alienware's faster in both hardware encoding, which is HE, undervolted, it's faster. And 8 minutes 16, it beats it in software rendering. So if we have a look down here, the Razer Blade, same CPU, same GPU, it's quite a lot slower. Except when you get to hardware encoding, it is very fast. Like 5 minutes, like puts that on top if we were going for hardware encoding, except for the Alienware M15, which is 4 minutes 42, which still is faster than the Razer Blade. But you can see when it can use that GTX 1070, the Razer Blade, yeah, it's fast. But just doing software rendering, which mainly uses the CPU, for some reason, it's quite a bit slower than the Alienware. Winner chicken dinner, cleaned house there. And if we have a look at Cinebench, yeah, it's pretty much what you'd expect, 1181. That's pretty good score. That was done cold. And then the other one, undervolted 1243, which is like, for this CPU, is like a really high. You can see pretty much, the Razer getting the same sort of score there, 1234 and 1100, whatever. It's pretty normal. And then, of course, the i9 and the MacBook Pro, actually slower. But indeed, it is the fastest 8750H CPU I've tested, like just on these benchmarks, although they're so close, it really doesn't matter. Righto, let's get into Lightroom. Let's have a look here. Punch in, punch out. Look how quick that is. We'll just scroll through some more. Boom, in, boom, out. Change over. Next one, we'll go through a few of these. Look how quick it's adjusting. Nice and snappy. Beautiful there. Let's go across a couple more. Oh, it's so fast. It's excellent. All right, let's develop this one. Let's have a look. Now, the clarity one seems to be the one that's really hard on the system. Look at that. Instant. Absolutely instant. No lag whatsoever with this clarity brush. And that one's really hard on the system. So we'll use an adjustment brush. We'll actually just overexpose it a little bit. Oh, and then I'll just try and bring back, actually I'll just overexpose the whites. Okay, and I'll try and just bring that back with some underexposure with the brush. Let's go underexposure and we'll brush this in and see. Look at that. Oh, it's instant, no lag. A bit too much underexposure there, but it doesn't matter. That's instant. Let's just, increase that a little bit. There you go. Instant. Boom. Performance is epic. All right, let's have a look at Premiere Pro. This is a 4K project, and we have some high resolution photos too. Let's see how it plays back through those 36 megapixel photos. As you can see, it's at full. If you look here, full, and we have a green light there, which indicates it's in real time, no drop frames. So it plays through the high res photos, no problem. Let's see how it plays back through 4K content. And by the way, if I just turn this off, you can see here, it is color graded. So there is a LUT applied, it is log footage. So it's pretty, you know, for a 4K project, it's pretty heavy duty. As you can see at full, no frames a drop. So this is a performance beast here. It's going to a high-res photo, yep. Plays through that, no problem. Let's do the ultimate torture test. And I'll just use 8K in a minute, but let's just try and do, you can see the scrubbing here, sorry. Let's just, it's perfect at full. Let's just try and do color correction on the fly. All right, let's play it.
You can tune all your gaming.
And yep, okay. Color correcting on the fly now. Oh, and it's still not dropping frames. Oh, there, it just started dropping frames at the end, but that's because I was color correcting on the fly, because as you can see, let's just play it again.
In the game,
it plays back 4K content, color corrected, graded, everything, no problems, as you would expect with a GTX 1070. All right, let's go to see my other sequence. Okay, let's go to my other sequence. This is 8K footage, and this is at full. Let's just go across here. That's not too bad for full, is it? 8K. It's not going to play 8K. Forget about it, but that's not too bad. It's not a slideshow. There you go. There's the slideshow. Okay, that's not too bad. That's pretty good for full. Now, a desktop with 10 cores or 8 cores might be able to play this at half. Let's have a look here. No laptop can play this at half. Let's have a look. All right. Oh, hello. It's playing at half. Oh, okay, it's dropped the frames at the end. But as you can see, you could probably edit at half. It's pretty smooth, as long as you're not playing back too much. But quarter is where it's at with the beast laptops. Now, not a lot of laptops can actually play it back at quarter. And this is 8K footage, so 8K footage at quarter still looks good. It's probably like 1080p, it looks like. Let's play it. Okay. Everything is green. Woo! That's what you want, baby. 8K footage, editing. No problem there. And as you can see, it plays right through that at quarter. So you're going to be able to edit 8K footage. All right, done. So guys, I've really worked hard to actually get this out, so I'd appreciate a like. And the gaming review coming probably tomorrow, and then I'll have a full review and some graphics amps and all that sort of thing. So make sure you subscribe to see more about this thing. I'd like to thank you for watching, and until next time guys, tally ho.